Tom Hanks, man, like the first time he hosted, I saw how cool he was, but the second time he hosted, when he wound up in a sketch of mine when he was in Black Jeopardy, that just took it to another level. I always known him as a very like open and giving type of person, but seeing his brilliance, like he stepped his character up in different levels.
So I had Seth Meyers on the podcast a little bit ago, and what was very compelling was learning about the SNL process. Like people don't understand, like there's a pitch process, what you guys go through during the week and everything. So as somebody had to get used to this process, what does it feel like when you have a pitch for a skit rejected?
I mean, it's usually pretty immediate because it's like just silence in the room, basically. So you got to get used to like, oh, I need to make this room laugh, regardless of if I think this idea is funny or not. There's a way to word things where you're going to get a group reaction. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out what that is, basically. It's not easy to do. I've been bad pitching for years, but at the same time, I also embrace that I don't give a fuck role and I just say what's on my mind, and then that makes people laugh. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out exactly kind of how to play that room because it's a room full of comedic minds, and they're all on, the forefront of where comedy is headed. You know what I'm saying? So they've heard all the jokes. They can hear stuff coming a mile away, basically, and you got to be clever with it. It's not an easy thing to do, but embrace that silence, man, because it's gonna happen. It's like motorcycle riders. You're gonna go down.
All right, so as long as you've been there, you've seen a lot of famous like people who have hosted the show. Who's the host that made you break character the most?
Break character the most. That's a good one. I mean, Dave is good. He likes to. But Dave Chappelle likes to break character. Like he's not up there to try to like stay in character. You know what I'm saying? He's up there to like make himself laugh. Like who made me like John Krasinski had me crying laughing at dress rehearsal just now. He broke character on that subway pitch. He didn't do it for the live show. It was that like weird cadence song that they were singing, and he just started laughing in the middle of it because it's the craziest thing ever. That made me laugh real hard. But who does it like regularly? Probably Maya or Amy. You know what I mean? Like any of my old Sandberg too. Oh, Bill. It might be Bill Hader actually, just because I don't know. He just has a way of finding a break moment when it's not coming, and it's still very good.
So, of all the, I have a feeling I know the answer to this, but I'd rather you explain it. But since you've been there, again, covers a long amount of territory, but like, which guest hosts were you the most in awe of?
Between Hanks and Dave and Eddie, I would say, like Eddie for sure. Just was like Santa Claus is running around for a week, you know what I mean? And then Tom Hanks, man, like the first time he hosted, I saw how cool he was, but the second time he hosted, when he wound up in a sketch of mine when he was in Black Jeopardy, that just took it to another level. I always known him as a very like open and giving type of person, but seeing his brilliance, like he stepped his character up in different levels, like in each performance. So like that handshake where he was scared to shake my hand, that was just on the live show. He ad-libbed that, you know what I'm saying? And he was just growing his character, and like to watch him do that just for a 3-minute, 4-minute sketch, it was just like, that's commitment. If Tom Hanks can have that kind of commitment, everybody needs to.
So it was funny. People who have this impression of you that like outside of SNL you don't do anything, like your resume is very robust and full. So 2020 you were actually on Ellen's show, and you said that like, oh, I think I'll stick around to 2021. Well, we're in 2021, right? And you got that historic mark. You're like the Jim Brown, or if you want to take it to Emmitt Smith in terms of most rushing yards ever, like you're that of SNL. So how much longer are you planning to do this?
It all depends. Like as long as my wife is not like overly, upset about all the travel or the back and forth or not being at home enough of it all. I like to keep working, man. Like it's not that much of a burden on me like that. You know what I mean? Like I've been doing it for so long. Like I know how it works. So the challenge is kind of on myself, however much I want to, give to it or try to create new things and stuff like that. But as far as like jumping in and everybody's like kind of got stuff for me to do, I can do that in my sleep. So I would love to get to 20, I think. You know what I mean? Like it's so close and that's a cool number. But hey, if people start just throwing millions and bajillions of dollars at me, I ain't got enough time. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go where the money flow.
Yeah. So, but with that in mind, what year or what season, however you want to put it, what's the closest you ever come to leaving?
I guess this would be, you know what I mean? But it's not really that close because I'm able to pull double duty because I'm under the same network with my stepping out job. You know what I'm saying? So this, my first rounds of development, that was always kind of the hope back when it was like maybe my 12th season or something like that. And then like I wasn't even the guy that broke the record. I was just a long running cast member and I was fine with that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, let's, jump off and see what the rest of the career holds. But it didn't play out like that. And then I wound up being there to break the record. I was like, all right, cool. Well, now I'm gonna be the guy that ain't never gonna leave. How about that? And then, now it's like, all right, well, you have to be real about time. So once that starts to become a factor, then I guess we'll discuss it. But like I said, it's gonna take a lot of.
Well, look, if this makes you feel any better, not that you need to feel better, but Ellen Pompeo said this about playing Meredith Grey. She played the same character for 20 years. And she is one of the highest paid women, if not, I believe now she's the highest paid woman on television. And she was just like, yo, I could have left for a lot of things, but this job allowed me to be home with my family. I knew what time I was coming home every day. I knew what my schedule was. And there's something that makes me feel like you're the same way. It's like you have a family, you know what your schedule is with SNL, and like you're happy with that. Like regardless
1000%.
of what people, it's like that makes me feel like from a personal standpoint, SNL allows you to have the things you want to have.
It does. It's like you get on the other side of like how stressful it is or how much of a time commitment it really is and look at what a stability it can be. I know it's coming back season after season. I know it's this amount of shows. I know what I can do with that amount of expected finance. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that. Like I'm in one place and I'm unavailable to go anywhere else for this amount of time. And if my family is around that, I'm around them. And it's like usually pretty that simple.
All right. I have a game I want to play with you, but before I get to the game, one last question is, who is somebody you love to imitate for SNL, but you're not either sure you can pull it off or you don't think you can pull it off, or you're like, I can't do that voice? Who is it?
I can't do that voice. That's a good one. I'm trying to think of anybody that's got a good voice. That's the thing about good voices is like if you can sing a little bit, you can pretty much do anybody because everybody lives in a tone. And if you can just catch that tone, like I can't necessarily do Will Smith great, or I never thought about doing Will Smith until I saw Jay do it. But then once I heard Jay Farrell do it, I was like, oh, that's how you do Will Smith. So I guess I could do it. You know what I'm saying? But
so you feel like you could do it, but like,
right.
You know,
it's like
could you confidently build a sketch around doing Will Smith?
Yeah, but I would be totally stealing from Jay the entire time.